Stillness, presence, embodiment, wisdom. Welcome to my channel.
So let's talk about leadership today. So what is or who is a leader? For me, a leader is a person that wants to create something and wants to have some impact, whether in the company, the environment, community, family, and is also ready to take responsibility for that impact. So from that definition, we all can be leaders, right? When we look at the definition of leadership that is more linked to maybe business, leadership was defined and developed throughout the years a little bit different. And very often we think about leaders, those who stand in the front, those who have the most knowledge, intelligence, experience in the field. And that kind of definition was more relevant, let's say last century, maybe even early this century. And then we came up with embodied emotional intelligence. So we started paying attention to leaders that they also understand what's going on with the people, employee, family, community, and they are able to serve them, right? So that was like a leader as a servant. And now we also know with those times that we need more than that. And as much this is intelligence and emotional intelligence are really needed and vital for leadership, we need something more. We need leaders who are able to be with uncertainty and who are able to create from almost nothing, right? There's so much going on in our world, and the changes are so fast, like never before. We also are in the time of AI, that we created something that is going to impact us, and we don't know how this is going to impact us. But even if we are not working with AI, but you are a leader and you want to create something, you are coming up with some challenges, and those challenges are always the same, whether you are a leader, like a person building your own company, being solo entrepreneur, being the CEO, the head of this company, or you are a leader of 60,000 employees, right? Those challenges will be always the same. So this embodied leadership, and let me explain you maybe embodied intelligence. So embodied intelligence is sensory knowing that is something beyond what we kind of know from books and experience. So embodied intelligence is all about knowing, which means receiving some inputs from somewhere and being able to use it to take better decisions and to create whatever you want to create. And this knowing is it's very much embodied, right? How we as leaders show up will define how well we are in our leadership. One of the biggest criterion of leaders, whether they're good leaders or not, is always how they show up in relationship with others. We are always in relationship with others. So leadership requires that we actually are able to work with people that maybe are not always agreeing with us, that maybe are challenging us. Maybe they don't like us in this moment because we made decisions that are not decisions they would make, right? We stay somehow in a conflict, and the leadership means that we are able to stay in this conflict, and from a centered place, that is usually embodied place, we can take still decisions, be in this relationship and have a conversation and build something out of this conflict, right? So if you are a person that is avoiding a conflict, then you will be avoid, and the conflict will rise and rise and rise. If you're a person that loves conflict and is not afraid of fighting, you might be given too much fire to your conflict. And that's also, none of those strategies are actually the best strategies to stay in relationship with others. How the embodied intelligence helps you is that your body will inform you what's going on now. The story we are telling ourselves, so head is telling us story, is just a story, right? We are making up the story, but the body will inform us. And if the body informs you, you are in your reactive mode, you are trying to control something, or you are not including others, like you are taking too much space, or maybe you are not taking enough space, you can shift your body. And with that shift, you might have access to different type of informations, and you might perceive what's happening right now differently. Also, I mentioned that we are living in these times where where the things are changing and things are uncertain. And always, when you want to build something new, there's lots of uncertainty. When you are, let's say, someone who is trying to build your own company, there's lots of uncertainty, whether you do it for the first time or fifth time. And if you want to do something new, you don't know where it takes you. So we need to very often risk and take this leap of a faith. And how this embodied intelligence can help us with that is simply that you can notice your patterns in your body when you lose physically, when you lose ground from under your feet, right? So if you physically start to jump, which means one of your leg is actually in the air, or even two legs at the same time, and you notice that you have a contraction or some stress, or maybe something is going on, then these kind of things most likely are happening when you are taking risk and doing those leaps in your business or in your decisions, right? So sometimes what's helpful is like putting your feet on the ground when you think about those taking risk and changes, and having your body feel more safe, that they are firmly on the ground and that they can take this leap, and see if this changes really something for you in that moment. So again, your body will inform you, how are you doing? And you can shift the state of your mind by shifting the state of your body. And it's much easier now to take risk and take the leap of a faith, right? Because that's a part that you cannot, the circumstances, you cannot change them. So you have to always take a risk if you build something new. But you can change how you react to that, and how you are more creative in those moments, and how you even include more and more people or more community in your decisions in those moments. When you are more centered, when you are closer to your body, when you are regulated, you are and when you feel yourself, you're connected with yourself, you can connect with others. When you connect with others, you actually expand this sphere of connection. Usually we have this sphere of connection with our closest one, with family, with some friends. That's when we feel safe and we connected. So we include them very often in our decisions. The more you are regulated, the more you are centered and aware of that, you can expand it. And now feel also people in your community at work that you want to include them into your decisions. And those decisions, usually taken from this place of centering, are much better decisions. There are decisions in good in long term. They're usually not very harmful decisions. And that's usually the knowing that is coming because you're in your body more. And the knowing, it's always coming from your body, right? A challenge for leaders is how to deal with stressful situations, and then how to kind of bounce back, like how to be resilient. Many people talk about resilience nowadays, and resilience is not really pushing through. It's not like staying, like it's so hard, but I will stay, I will push through, I'm resilient. That's not resilience. That's acting out of your automatic reactions. The moment you notice, like you have this tunnel vision and you get things done and you just that, you probably are pushing through, you're probably acting out of your automatic reaction, and you're probably getting some things done and you're getting some results. It just costs you. There's always a cost when you act from it. There is always cost, whether from it's at the expense of you or expense of others. So you might be exhausted when you do that, right? You might not be leading with ease, or it will be at the expense of your colleagues or employees or your family, right? So if you want to actually lead with ease, you need to, again, go back to your center. And when you're more centered, when you're connected to why you are doing this, so you have this kind of coherence in your mind, body, and your heart with your purpose, who you are, why you are doing it, there's much more ease. Like the doors are opening suddenly, somehow, by themselves. So you don't need to push and fight, right? Another one big thing for leaders is to really understand our favorite strategies of self-deception. So how do we act in moments of stress? What's happening with us? And this is really challenging because we very often think this is our nature, this is our personality, and we cannot do anything about this. In fact, those strategies are usually learned strategies in some long time ago, maybe in a childhood or in any emotional accidents or happenings that we built that were serving us until now, but are not serving us anymore. Those strategies, they have embodiment in your... So it means that when you act and think in this way, you are also, your body is also in certain way, right? So there is a shape of your body. There is you either tall or short or squeeze, and there are sensations. You probably have some tension somewhere there. There's probably less space and not so much ease, right? So that's how you start noticing those strategies, and you can be curious about them because, like I said, they might work well, but they will cost you energy. The other way to kind of find them out is when you start controlling, when you need to get to this outcome, or you need to get somewhere but this way, your way. When you start controlling people that they need to do it this way, right? That's the clue. Okay, I am in my, I went back to my like automatic reactions, this strategy. And instead of doing that, if you start practicing centering and knowing when you are regulated and how you feel and how is your body in that moment, you start bringing it back to those moments. And when you do that, when you're more centered, regulated, aligned in your body, again, you will take better decisions because you will be informed by the whole intelligence of your being, not only by your thoughts that anyway, in those moments that will be very like achieve, do, protect, right? In the moments when you're like holding to those old strategies, you feel at risk. Something is at risk or you feel in danger, right? Because you need to control. So you need to find a way, when do you feel safe? When can you trust the world? What's happening with your body in those moments? and bring yourself back there with your body, not with your mind. And that will also not only like give you opportunity to make better choices, but very often gives you new ideas. The new knowing will come up. You will see different things. You will be able to include more others into your decisions and cooperate, and you will be more creative. So what are the embodied practices for leaders? One that I would recommend is like simply working with your breath. When you are in the moment of dysregulation, stress, and let's say you cannot now stand up and shake or do something for very long, you can always take a deeper breath, the best through your nose, and just imagine your breath is going down through your belly, through your legs to the ground. And do it like one more time. And just allow your breath to drop down. Allow your breath to drop down. And sometimes one breath makes a difference. One breath makes a difference. The other thing that you can do is make sure you are aligned in the way you stand or sit. So your head is above your shoulders, shoulders above your hips. If you sit, like hips are 90 degrees with your knees, and then knees above your ankles. Just simply that. And see if you can kind of create a bit more space between your ribs. And you're just being held by your skeleton. You don't need to hold the muscles. So maybe some of the tension will release just naturally. Very quick. You don't have to do a lot, right? Another practice that you can do in the moment is actually touching your fingers with your fingers and sensing the skin of your fingers. Like feeling, not thinking about this, but imagine you feel the skin with the other skin and just being curious. How does it feel? And which skin do you feel? So you can also just touch your pants or trousers, any texture. It will bring you back to your body, to your center, naturally. So it doesn't have to be a big practice, but it can be very powerful. When you start connecting to your body, you connecting to another source of intelligence that has been neglected very often for many, many years or centuries, or maybe even whole of your life, right? And imagine there is an immense intelligence there. So not only you are more creative, but it also informs you most of all, how do you show up? Like when you are with people. So you are more centered, and like you in this moment when you show up, you know whether you actually are helping to solve the situation or you are staying in a way of solving any situation. You are like creative or you are reactive, right? So you are inclusive or you are closed, right? So all of that gives you just like your body will give you a clue where are you with that. So it's really important to start working with your body. Embodied leadership or embodied intelligence really helps you to show up in a way that will be more inviting and inclusive in terms of everyone else, and more creative too. That is really connected to your present. It's all about the presence. So presence is your embodied ability to extend the energy and convey a message through that energy. So if you are able and if you know your centered place, and from that place you know what matters to you in your life, who you are, what do you fight for, you can convey it with your presence. To convey it with your presence, your body needs to be centered. There should not be like a tension should be space, ease, loose, should be everything is like a line in you. And when you walk into the room, people know what you stand for. That's what embodied leadership is, really.